Yeah. Hi, everyone. We're Little Too Free. We are the student-led anti-human trafficking club at Vanguard University. And something that's really important, we believe in empowering youth to have empowerment, to have the choice, and have a voice within the sector of human trafficking. So today we're really going to talk about online safety, media literacy, and body safety. So we know today in this world, especially now because of COVID and the pandemic, there's been a growth on the online presence that a lot of young adults and youth have. And we want to really just talk about how can we stay safe from online predators and how can we be a part of the solution to make responsible choices. So, video. Okay. So we did have a video for you, but it's not working. But within the video, it showed just how online predators will come and reach out on different social media sectors like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, in order to get in contact with different youth and young adults. And at this moment, the situations may not seem that serious, where it'll be light conversations, and then it'll be part of a process where it becomes grooming and manipulation of young adults. So moving on to sextortion, that is really popular within online spaces where predators come to just reach out to children and young adults and youth about suing and asking for sexual images or sexual acts through text messages. And it often begins with the predator contacting you over the video games, social media, and dating apps. And the predators could be people you don't know online. It could be people you do know, catfishes, and then just anyone in general who reaches out. So they may try to be your friend or even a girlfriend or boyfriend at first, and then it slightly shifts and changes into a situation that's very predator-ish. So, okay, we have a video to show about online predators. So again, that video that we saw shows an example of how like predators will be under the guise of being your friend, and then through deception and through manipulation, they'll then convince the person to send a picture, and or they may lie and say like, oh, I already have a picture of you, to convince the young person to send them another picture and threaten to send them to families and friends. So if you happen to be in a situation in extortion or know someone, it's really important to encourage them to reach out to a trusted adult, or at least a trusted person where they can share to another adult. And also, if a person might have sent you some nudes or sent you some things that you really weren't okay with, or you shouldn't be okay with, delete those immediately, and then share with a trusted adult as well, or a trusted friend, that this is not what you wanted to do, and this is not what you wanted to be, what you wanted sent to you. So what does online predators have to do with human trafficking? And it's really important to understand what human trafficking is. And it is when a trafficker recruits, transports, and obtains another human being by means of force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of commercial sex acts or labor services against a person's will. So what you may see on the screen, and then also we talked about the app model before. The action, means, and purpose. The means being force, which could be physical abuse, physical harm, fraud, which can be false promises of love, wages, or a better life. Coercion could be physical harm, and psychological manipulation for the purpose of commercial sex acts or labor services.
And so what we wanted to focus on, especially for this presentation, was the fact that being online and now being on a world where many children, going as young as 5 or even 4 years old, whether it's on tablets or things like that, a lot of children are exposed to the online predators very early in life. And especially as we watch the video, just different things where they're exposed to very sexual images or things like that, or the behaviors of that. And so we just wanted to kind of connect both the online world to the human trafficking world, because that we see through social media and different outlets of whether it's networking or just connecting with friends, it becomes a lot easier and faster for traffickers to trick young people into becoming their victims of human trafficking. Traffickers are smart and they know how to look for images or use comments or interests that connect with the child themselves. And so when we start to post things, whether we're sharing, about our lives or our interests, we also sometimes share our fears, our feelings of emptiness, our disappointments and insecurities. And like I said, traffickers are very smart and they know how to utilize that to almost not only victimize children even more, but also exploit them. And so that's just the kind of connection there where it's easy, especially behind closed doors when we don't know who we're actually talking to. The idea of strain or danger isn't as prevalent, especially to children nowadays. Everyone they meet, whether it's on Discord or Fortnite or even on social media, we put up this front and it's easy to put just a picture up and we don't know who we're talking to, which increases even more the ability for traffickers to put on this facade and once again use force, fraud, or coercion to continue their trafficking tactics. So we also wanted to talk about how as teenagers, just because we feel like online safety can be geared a lot to teenagers, we have our social medias to kind of explain what's happening in our life, whether we post a story, we tweet, share a photo with friends or show what we're doing. A lot of us can sometimes complain and kind of show a lot of our insecurities and show a lot of things that we're struggling with. And we want to say that there's a place and a space to do that. And we believe that the online presence is not where that happens, not because you cannot express yourself. And once again, we want to encourage you to find those people around you that you can express these feelings to and find the help that you really do need and that encouragement. If you were listening to our meeting in there, Dr. Brenda Navarro was talking about finding that peer-to-peer interaction and how important that is to find people that you truly trust. The online presence is not where you can find a lot of people you can trust, just because we don't know who we're always talking to. And traffickers know how to respond to certain things that you say online. So on the slide, we just have a few comments that young people might say, whether it's "nobody gets me" or "OMG, I'm so ugly, how do I look? Check out my new pics, did you like it? My parents don't trust me, I'm being treated like a kid." So all these different things we may see as, we can talk to one another and we're like, yeah, like I relate to you, but we know that person. But when it comes to the online world, they're going to respond in the same exact way. So you start to build these relationships and build this sense of trust with someone you may not always know their true intentions. And once again, we're not saying that everyone online is unsafe, but we do want to make you all aware that when you have these relationships online, to just be aware that the way that they respond to you, they know how to respond to you. And that is just the danger of the online presence. So yeah, once again, if you want to look at the slides and kind of just see the different responses that are very common, very subtle, and just a way to be more aware of how to respond and how to accept those responses. So on this next slide, we have different images that reflect, here, we can show it this way too. So these are just the images I'll be talking about. So these images we got off of whether it's social media or just different marketing tools that we would see online that kind of, I would say, have very subliminal messages of who we are and our value, especially as teenagers, whether that's, you know, a billboard that we're seeing when we're driving by or an ad that pops up on our computer or things that we subscribe to on our social medias. We all internalize something, and something that we do want to touch on is that we all know that there's Photoshop. We all know that sometimes we post the best parts of our life. So social media is not always reality. And so there's a lot of unrealistic expectations, whether that's for males or women. So I kind of wanted to ask the people around me to kind of just share, when you look at these photos, what are the sort of, you know, implications that you feel your value is based on? Maekayla?
Well, for me, for one, the picture of Kylie Jenner really emphasizes that there's this big need to have like the perfect body. What society wants, you have to be skinny, you have to be curvy, and it's just like some people may not fit into all that. And then also like you need to have more likes and more followers in order to be important and popular for the people around you and the people you go to school or work with. So it doesn't really get the best things for me.
And I feel like for me, just my perspective on some of these pictures, you know, like Justin Bieber, and then physical comparison with some of the males on there, really just speak to like what you should look like. But in reality, there are like before and after pictures which show like sometimes it's just all about the edits. And like Maekayla was saying, a lot of times it's our society likes to focus around how many likes, how many comments, how many followers you get on a single image that portrays yourself. And you know, when you take a picture of like you in a group, what's the first thing you look at? It's yourself. And I feel like you know, just having that kind of mindset in this is really dangerous for our teenagers, because it shows, it's telling them that they need to be on the lookout for themselves online and have this sort of presentation and presence online in social media to like look a certain way or to look, you know, feel a certain way about themselves, and that they should, you know, this image here with a girl who has like so many likes and 560 comments, and then on the other side a girl who has 16 comments, 1 like, and she's like depicting how sad she is and kind of just like depressed, and like 2 different comparisons of each other, which is a reality for our students. And I feel like a lot of times this is neglected, and sometimes we don't want to live up to the facts that, you know, our social media is over sexualized too in some of these images. And it's like you can't post yourself online unless you look a certain way, unless you look, you know, physically attractive, or, you know, some means, you know, trying to over sexualize your content.
Yeah. I like how you bring up the topic about over sexualizing and how we can almost draw that to how that increases the demand for either sex trafficking and things like that, whether we're subscribing to porn and always trying to find that. I think like I said, what we internalize and what we see, that's what we search for. And the reason why we're talking about all these different expectations that are unrealistic is because traffickers can see that as a vulnerability, especially for a lot of teenagers. They know what trends are happening, and they go off of that, and they will say certain things and kind of coerce you to be that certain way, and that increases more vulnerability, more insecurities, and once again, just more room for them to kind of get your attention and things like that. So that's just something that we wanted to talk about, because we as young adults and even as teenagers, that's something that we experienced and we know that it can be harmful. So, and last thing I wanted to talk about in this kind of realm is the difference between body empowerment and body objectification. So we know, there's been that trend where it's like we want to empower a woman, we want to empower how we look and how we feel. However, sometimes doing that can also come off as body objectification. So we kind of wanted to just talk about the difference. So the definition of empowerment would be the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. And the definition for objectification is the action of degrading someone to the status of a mere object. So when we look at the difference between empowerment and objectification, one question that specifically stands out to me that kind of helps me determine what is me empowering myself and what is me objectifying myself is who's in control. So something that we have to be aware of is, am I posting this to get approval from other people, from my peers? Or am I doing it because I feel confident and I feel more control in my life and this is how I feel? So when we're online, we have to make sure that who we're portraying ourselves as is true to yourself and it's true to how you want people to see you. And not in a way where you're trying to get other people's approval, but this is who I am and that's true empowerment. So that's just something to keep in mind. The more confident you are in yourself, the less susceptible you are to prayers and online predators coming with, affirming messages and things like that, because you are in control of how you portray yourself. And once again, going back to the other side, you are also in control of how you view others. And so it's not only a sense of how do you empower yourself, but how do you empower others and not objectifying others, whether they're male or female, and just having that sense of, respect for yourself and others around you.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. Well, for me now, I'd like to transition into a time where I'm talking about how do we actually stay safe? And, we didn't come here today to scare you or to, get you riled up about sextortion and this kind of area of online safety, but we came here to empower you and to prepare you for these situations that may come in the future. But first, it's important to know what we are facing and then learn how we can protect ourselves and others against online dangers. Because in reality, sometimes it's not even the person that's on the other side of the screen that will be harming a teen. Sometimes it's the teen that can do self-harm. And, we're talking today on our team, and there's a case that was on the news today of a resident from Northern California who actually took his own life because he was a victim of sextortion. So we need to make sure that you are empowered to prepare your teens, your students, and anyone else who this may happen to. So how do we stay safe online? These are just some practical ways that we want to show you different forms of empowerment. So these are just tips and different ways that you can stay safe and make sure that you will not be sextorted online or find yourself being trafficked. And if you think that you are at risk, we ask you to consider your friends, and we ask you to think about how you can keep them safe and share what you're learning today. So really, just reading off the screen today, these are just some tips and really some recommendations that we have seen and want to encourage you with. Is number one, posting images and phrases of empowerment. I know sometimes it seems cheesy or can seem kind of corny to post like inspirational quotes and different things, but this actually shows that we're creating a community online that's encouraging others. And it's not just encouraging yourself, but it also encourages friends and people that is in your inner circle. Next, we say don't share your location. Take off your geotagging from your phone, your camera, and Snapchat location, your Find My Phone. I know these are really huge amongst teens today, is using your Snapchat location. And the problem with that is that when you open your app on Snapchat, it takes you on the map where it shows you where you're actually at of like every single second. And this is dangerous because a lot of the times students and we see teenagers befriending people on these social media platforms that they don't know. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think it'd be fine to, allow these sharing, to be able to share these things with trusted adults and friends and families that won't put you in harm's risk. But the issue that we're talking about is just, the whole stranger danger and ensuring that, strangers don't know where you are 24/7. The next tip is only add people to only add people on social medias that you know in real life. This is really important because there are a lot of strangers that are adding students and teenagers that we have no idea who they are, and it's easy for teenagers to build a relationship with those kind of people online. So only add people you know in real life on social media. Next, remember that not everyone you meet online is trustworthy or cares about you. I know sometimes you can befriend somebody and you'll think right away like, oh, this person cares about me because they say they care about me. One case here in Flagstaff that we were a part of in the social work team was a young girl who got exposed to pornography on her school computer. And from there, she ended up actually finding like a texting site, and she started texting this random person who ended up being like in their 40s. It was a male who was saying like, I love you, I'm going to take care of you. And this happened in a one parent household. So we just want teens to be sure, that they know who they're talking to online all the time, because there is people in different universes and different countries really that are trying to engage with students, and we don't know who they are. Next, never meet up with someone you can only meet online, or never meet up with someone that you've only met online. If someone asks you to meet offline, don't do it. Make sure you tell a trusted adult immediately if someone tries to connect or make contact with you and tries to meet with you offline. So this means if you are taking a trip, to the mall or something, and someone that you don't know that you befriended online asks if they can come and like shop with you or just like hang out with you, these are things that you want to avoid. The next part is be suspicious. If an online friend tries to turn you against your friends or your family, or tells you to keep a secret from them, don't do that. Especially with strangers and people that you may have on social media that you do not know at all. Be suspicious of them and make sure that you're also investigating and reevaluating yourself every day in those conversations so that they're not making you turn against your family or your friends. The next one, don't accept gifts from people that you met online. This connects to different forms of grooming and different forms of them trying to get you to do something for them. So keeping that in mind. The next part is never post personal or inappropriate sexual images online. I think that line kind of speaks for itself. Sometimes people, like in the video we showed you, they'll build and establish a relationship with you, and then in return ask for inappropriate pictures of yourself or sexual images, because once these things are posted online, it goes everywhere and it really spreads out like a wildfire, and it affects different parts of social media, even though you think it's just being posted to one part. Our next tip: if someone shares inappropriate photos of another teen, don't reshare. Tell a trusted adult immediately, because this is illegal and the person posting this can get in a lot of trouble. But we say that, with you being an ally, and we want to empower you to be an ally and to tell trusted adults when your peers or when other students are being victimized of this. And then lastly, don't play online games with people you do not know in real life. And we cannot stress this enough, because this is what our generation has really built the gaming industry on. And it really encourages students to get on games where you have no idea who you're talking to, but there are settings where you can become friends with people that you know in real life, and you're able to play those games with them. So don't play with games online with people that you do not know in real life. So what if someone is being trafficked? Or what if someone is threatening me? It's important that we do not repost negative images of friends or strangers. This really has a lot to do with our shame discussion. It is never your fault if you are manipulated, or if you are manipulated to share or engage with sexual explicit material. If someone is threatening you to send them sexual images, we have some links that we'll put in the sketch for resources and materials that you can help see yourself to. But if someone is threatening you, here are some practical steps that you can take to ensure that you are safe. Number one, know that you're not alone. Online exploitation is more common than you think. And you do not need to feel that shame from it. As you saw in that one video that we showed earlier, It happens to both males and females, and there's no reason to be ashamed of it because exploitation is real and it's happening to students everywhere. Number two, take control. If you're asked to share something that makes you feel uncomfortable, you have the power to say no, even if you shared something before. They are the ones doing something wrong, not you. Number three, talk to a trusted adult, a parent, a teacher, school counselor, a friend of your parent, and just really emphasizes the fact that you are not alone and that you can walk through this. And I know sometimes it's hard for you to share like with a parent or a trusted adult or a guardian that this happened, but really there are resources, and if you feel uncomfortable talking to your teacher or to a counselor or to whoever, find somebody around you. When we talk about practical steps of human trafficking and how to avoid human trafficking, we need you to stop and evaluate your life and identify 3 to 5 different adults in your life that you can fully trust telling these things to, because we know as teens, sometimes if you do share a sexual or some sort of explicit image with somebody else, you might not feel comfortable telling your parents that for whatever reason. So you need to make sure that you have that person that you can go to. Number 4, get help. We have great resources like with our friends through Thorn. So text Thorn to 741741. So I repeat, 741741, and you can text the word Thorn confidentially to speak with a trained counselor. They will help you move from a hot moment to a cool moment, and are trained to support people in crisis. Number 5, report sextortion. The NNEJ cyber tip line is always available online, or to tech companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and then lastly, report it to the police. Number 6, mention if your age is under 18. It helps companies know that you are legally still a minor and take more aggressive action when they know that you're involved in some sort of explicit sexual content, and that you're trying to take ownership of your case. Number 7, save everything. This probably feels like the opposite of what you are thinking, but this will help you show someone what is happening, what has happened, instead of just relying on your memory. So take screenshots, because it is easy, online for people to delete those content. So take screenshots and make sure that you save everything in your case. And lastly, report or make complaints on apps. Like I said, when we're talking about reporting sextortion, most social media apps have procedures to remove images and videos. I know, like on Twitter, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, if you're involved, or if you see your image being posted somewhere that is an inappropriate image, you can go on there, report the image, and explain your case. And that is a form of reporting as well. So what if someone is being trafficked? What if I know someone who has experienced sextortion? We really encourage you, as a form of prevention, to contact the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And I know throughout the conference, we've talked about the National Trafficking Hotline, and we also have materials with Live to Free that educate students on their resources through National Human Trafficking Hotline. So as you can see on your screen, we encourage you to call 1-888-373888. Again, 1-888-3737-888, or text Be Free to 233-733. And then there are live chats on the humantraffickinghotline.org. On your screen, if you're seeing this later or now, there are some resources that you can scan these QR codes to take you to even more quick resources for your benefit. So definitely take a screenshot of this and use it as a resource later.
So you may be wondering, how can I make a difference within this situation of sextortion or human trafficking within itself? First thing you can do is learn more about sextortion and human trafficking. Again, Thorn, THORN, really has some great resources, as well as the Global Center for Women and Justice. We have Ending Human Trafficking, a podcast which you can listen to learn more. You can go on our website and learn more about human trafficking. Another thing is tell your friends what you learned. Sometimes we really influence our friends, and we encourage and learn with one another, and having that conversation and just creating some form of platform where you can share about sextortion makes it easier to prevent it as well. So number 3, create a school project about online predators, really immersing yourself in learning more about sextortion and then going out and sharing it with other students like you is really important. Support your friends who have been sextorted. Again, like we talked about the shame aspect, and it's important to recognize and share with them that we all make mistakes and it is not their fault that they've been manipulated or sextorted. 5, don't support the porn industry. It is important, especially within the body objectification and empowerment conversation. What we see on porn is not empowerment and it's objectification, and it puts in ourselves unrealistic ideals about violence, about sex, and about personal selves. And the last is report sextortion and human trafficking. Again, you can reach out to the human trafficking hotline, 888-3737, 888, and go online to the Global Center for Women and Justice, as well as the human trafficking hotline.org. Are there any questions? You guys have any questions for us? Okay, so here is our information. Again, we're Live 2 Free. Our website is live2free.org. You can email us at l2f@vanguard.edu and also reach out to us on Instagram at _live2free_.
And then to add, as we close, we just wanted to thank you all for being a part of our workshop today and for really talking about the serious matter at hand. A lot of times we don't take this seriously. So if you're a student, we want to see you and recognize you and know that you are not alone in this process. And, you know, we're all here to, if you want, we're a resource to you as well. So if you need to contact us and you don't feel comfortable talking to an adult yet that you're surrounded by, please contact us and we'll help walk you through the right steps that you need to walk with. If you're a parent or a guardian or some sort of teacher that's watching of any sorts, we want you to be aware that this is happening in our age today, and a lot of our students are not safe online. And this message is really to empower you, to empower your youth that you work with, that you live with, to ensure that, you know, there is a safe place that can be provided for them, and that there is a need to talk about sextortion and really the realities of teens sending nudes and different things like that, and just to be aware of predators. All right, well, we're ending our workshop a little bit earlier as we were prepared for a 30-minute workshop, but we were placed in a 1-hour time frame. So we're going to end a little bit early if there are no questions, and we encourage you to join another workshop or to go just wait for our plenary that's going to be happening in about 20 to 30 minutes. So thank you all for being a part of this presentation today, and we hope to see you later.